This video shows an example of using stimulus overshadowing. So here I am working with Tomsk from Hill Pony Resources. He's a case study pony, and Tomsk has been learning to accept touch all over his body. This is something he was quite fearful of because it's something he'd never really experienced before, being previously feral and not really being handled. But also, Tomsk is just super clever, so his brain was super active, and sometimes he can get a little bit bored, which could result in a little bit of frustration if we didn't keep the training really interesting for him, and if we sort of did the same simple thing to try and gain confidence, he could get a bit bored of that. Now, Tomsk had been coming along in leaps and bounds of his training at Hill Pony Resources, so clearly they've been doing an absolutely brilliant job with him. But in this session we decided to use something called stimulus overshadowing to try and change some of those unwanted emotions and work on touch acceptance without directly focusing on that, if that makes sense, so that he didn't get bored and frustrated with that and he had something else to keep his mind occupied, and bringing the touch in just happened to be something that I was fading in along the way while he was occupied and doing something else. Now, of course, for some horses and in some situations this would contribute to trigger stacking and could cause them to become more upset if you're working on something that they sort of struggle with and then you also introduce something potentially scary and novel for them to work with on top of that. But Tomsk is a very curious, very clever horse with a very active mind, so for him, introducing the more salient stimulus here, which was the plastic bag, which he wasn't really scared of, he was more interested in, really helped him to habituate to the less salient stimuli, which was me touching him, as long as I was doing this under threshold in a way that he was happy with, so that it wasn't threatening to him and that he didn't feel worried about it and he wasn't too focused on it either. Props to Hill Pony Resources for all their amazing work and for bringing Tomsk along so well.